What to expect if you buy a Jeep Gladiator. Well, good evening everybody, and welcome back to Automotive JT. So what do you expect? What can you expect if you buy a Jeep Gladiator? You know, I'm on my second one. I'll give you a little bit of history real quick so that you know who's talking to you, I guess. I'm on my second one. My first one, I traded off because I had some issues, some gremlins. But my love for the truck led me to my second one, or the opportunity to purchase my second one. So I did. What I have is a 2020 Jeep Gladiator Sport S. I don't have the top of the line. I don't have the Rubicon or the Mojave or the Limited or any of those. I have a pretty basic Jeep Gladiator. And I gotta say, first of all, if you're looking for one and you're gonna do any modding or anything to it, change the tires, maybe lift it, some other things, then I would suggest you get the lower trim level, because there's no reason to buy a higher trim level and then rip everything off that you paid for to replace it with other things. Just doesn't make much sense. So that's kind of why I have the trim level that I have. So what can you expect? Well, from the get-go, you can expect to pay more money. The Jeep Gladiator is not inexpensive. It is most likely one of the top cost-wise vehicles that you can buy. I don't know that I have a big problem with that. You know, what do you get out of it? Well, you get a truck. I mean, it has a bed in the back. It's capable. It's in the upper echelon of capability as far as towing and hauling goes. You get a four-wheel drive monster. You know, Jeep for years has ruled the four-wheel drive market. I think the Gladiator is the same, although I'll preface that with saying that I don't do a lot of off-roading, but we know it still is the most capable, along with the Wrangler, of course, four-wheel drive vehicle that you can get. So if you're looking to do some off-roading occasionally, I would say the Jeep Gladiator will certainly suit that. Next up, let's talk about fuel economy. You know, if you're expecting some sort of a hyper miler, well, then you're probably going to be disappointed. The Jeep Gladiator certainly does not get the best gas mileage of all the trucks in the market. I'll say that my modded Toyota Tacoma is getting better mileage than I am with the Jeep Gladiator. Not much, but just a little bit. And I'll give you a real world number. I've been driving around here for a little while now. I'm getting 15.1 miles per gallon as an average. Now, most of my driving is city, but this morning I have been right around the 55 to 60 mile per hour range in my travels. So that'll give you kind of an idea of what to expect as far as the mileage or fuel economy that you're gonna get. Comfort-wise, I would argue that the Jeep Gladiator is probably the most comfortable mid-size truck that you can get. Now, I've had others, granted it's been several years for some of them, but most recently, the Toyota Tacoma. And I will say, unmodded, that means no bigger tires, no lift. The Tacoma probably is pretty darn close. But I'm driving around in a Jeep Gladiator that is slightly modded when it comes to tires, and that is, I have a 285/70 R17 tire on this truck, and I have to say, I haven't noticed really any difference in ride quality in going with those bigger, heavier tires. The only thing that I've noticed, and it's really because of the weight, is a slightly increased stopping distance. Just seems like I have to get on the brakes just a little bit more, just a touch more than I do or did before I had added those tires to the truck. Now, power-wise, what can you expect? Is it going to be a dog? Is it going to be slow? Is it going to be gutless? Absolutely not. The Jeep Gladiator, from every small or mid-sized truck that I've driven, is the quickest one out there. And I know there are numbers out there. Some of the bigger channels have done side-by-side 0 to 60 tests. I don't know how they're doing it, because some of them say that the Jeep Gladiator is not as quick. I would argue that that's not true. The Jeep Gladiator gets up and goes when you want it to. It has awesome acceleration, awesome power, even while you're running. In other words, if you're going to get on the freeway and you're already up to, I don't know, 55, 60 miles an hour, and you need to get on it to be able to merge, the Jeep Gladiator has enough extra oomph to do that. I love it. From a handling standpoint, you know, it almost feels like an SUV. You would never know it was a truck if you didn't know that there was a bed on the back. Doesn't feel that way, doesn't have the old lumbering feel of some trucks. You know, the biggest thing that I look for, I guess, in trucks, or that I'm aware of, is the articulation of the bed. Now, that probably goes way back to high school when I drove a full-size, I think it was a long bed Chevy. It was funny when you'd go over bumps. It always felt like the cab and the bed were doing this. And they probably were back in the day. Not so in the Jeep Gladiator. It feels like one solid unit. And I really like that. Again, it feels like you're driving around a midsize SUV. It's awesome. The other thing is, I guess, is the capability of it. You know, what are you going to be able to do with the Jeep Gladiator? And I would say pretty much anything that you want. It is a capable off-road vehicle. It's also a great daily driver and an awesome family hauler. There's plenty of room in here for kids in the back, even older kids that have gotten maybe bigger than you are. They'll fit in the back, no problem. Not gonna have a lot of complaining about space and room and little Johnny too close to little Susie, all that stuff. There's all kinds of room back there, entry and exit into this truck. Now, I'm gonna use the Toyota Tacoma as my example, and I pick on the Tacoma sometimes because it is the #1 selling midsize truck. But I will say entry in the Tacoma is a little bit tight. You kind of have to, you know, kind of contort a little bit when you get in the truck. You don't have to do that with the Jeep Gladiator, and it's probably because it's basically a box on wheels. You kind of just open the door and just kind of get right in. You don't have to contort yourself or twist or bend, and I like that. You know, I'm not as young as I used to be, and the back is not as pain-free as it used to be. So it's comforting to be able to get in and out of the truck without having to do all kinds of things to situate yourself. I really do like that. Now, I want to add one other thing to this, another real-world example, and there is another Jeep Gladiator right over to my left. They are growing in numbers out here in the wild. And the one thing I want to mention, my mother has one. Now, I'm not 20 years old anymore, and that means my mother is a little bit older than I am, and she loves it. She drives a Jeep Gladiator Mojave and loves driving it around. Seems to be perfectly comfortable enough for her, and I think that is just awesome. And it's a testament to the wide age range, I guess, that the Jeep Gladiator appeals to. You know, whether you're 20 or 70, it's an awesome vehicle. Anyway, I just wanted to get on, give you a little bit of a ownership perspective of what you can expect if you're looking to buy a Jeep Gladiator. I think it's awesome. Leave a comment. If you're in the market, are you considering one? I'd be curious to know. Also, real quick, I do have one additional channel. It is Rob Motive, all about my 2021 Toyota Tacoma and a little bit of Tundra sprinkled in there. Check it out, and if you like it, please consider subscribing. Don't forget to click that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. And do me a favor, smash that subscribe button on the way out. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.